Previously on Spirit Farmer, our hero shattered the cursed harvest, survived the endless abyss, and toppled the Tyrant system, only to unleash a cataclysmic entity. The world trembles, and now the story continues. Lee Junho slams his superhuman ID card onto the barn door as Hawa swirls, turning wilted lettuce into glowing, power-boosting vines. Mira darts between rows, harvesting a batch of life tree seedlings just as Kong Se-ryong's drones descend. Grandmaster Huan chants, sealing a protective barrier while the village cheers. This harvest will rewrite their fate. Lee Junho slams the barn door shut as Hawa's emerald vines coil around the seedlings, instantly blooming into radiant, power-boosting corn. Mira rushes in, brandishing a freshly harvested herb that glows with life energy, while Grandmaster Huan chants, sealing the field against BioCore's drones. Across the horizon, Kong Se-ryong watches his troops retreat, realizing the Spirit Farmer's farm has become a battlefield of miracles. A sleek raven, named Hawk, lands on the clearing's edge, its feathers glinting like polished steel. The elves gather, their leader nodding solemnly, acknowledging the day's significance for both their kind and the farmer's destiny. A quiet gratitude passes between them, a brief pause before duty's call again. A sprout pushes through the soil, green and fragile, catching Hawk's keen eye. The bird's chirp echoes, a simple sound that binds the moment together, promising growth amid uncertainty.
It's a sprout, Hawk.
The group plants the world tree's seed, each hand digging deep, coaxing the earth to cradle the future. You watch the ground tremble under your boots as an impossible energy ripples through the field. Junho pauses, sensing a shift that feels older than any storm. Something massive awakens beneath the soil. He asks the others if they feel the same, but the silence answers only with a low, humming vibration. The strange occurrence threatens to tear the fragile balance. If the source is a dormant world tree, uncontrolled growth could swallow the farm whole. Junho steadies his breath, reaches into the earth, and places his palm on the trembling spot, channeling his cultivated spirit energy to calm the surge. The earth steadies, but a faint, green glow remains, hinting at a living root far deeper than anyone imagined. Junho plants the world tree seed at the dungeon's core, and the ground erupts with raw, pulsing energy as the ancient roots burst outward, shaking the cavern walls. He feels his farmer's hope ignite, yet doubt claws his heart, knowing one misstep could crush his fledgling crops and doom the region's hunger-stricken future. A deep, resonant tremor rises from below, and the elven leader's snarling demand for proof hangs in the air, leaving the world tree's awakening teetering on the brink of catastrophic failure. The sheer power in this chapter is unbelievable. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. Lee Junwoo slams his superhuman ID onto the farmhouse desk, watches Hawa's emerald vines coil around the old barn, and feels the soil pulse with awakened power. Mira Han darts in, brandishing a whirling spirit seed, while Taemin hustles the newborn crops into shimmering rows. Across the ridge, Biotech's drones hum, and Lord Guang's shadow looms. This farm now breeds legends, not lettuce.
Mira races across the mist-blanketed fields, her palms glowing as she summons a wind spirit to chase away the looming darkness. The spirit swirls, scattering poisonous spores that Lord Guang had scattered to choke the harvest. Junwoo grips his superhuman ID, shouting commands that sync with Myra's rhythm.
Grandmaster Sook watches the spirit's sticky aura coil, uneasy about its heavy presence. He wants the spirit to feel respected, not crushed. The spirit's sluggish movement and the crew's clumsy handling threaten to break its majesty. He steps closer, trying to soothe it, but the spirit's resistance spikes, making the air thick. He forces a gentle squeeze, hoping humility will calm it. Yet the spirit trembles, hinting at hidden resentment. The farm gains a momentary boost, but the spirit's pride takes a subtle hit.
Okay.
Junwoo watches the seedlings trembling under the sun, wondering how the world tree will differ from the elves' ancient groves.
Junwoo eyes the gathered spirits, desperate to turn their attention to a looming threat. Rival cultivators planning to breach the world tree's sanctuary. He needs allies to voice the danger, but mistrust lingers. Hawk questions the motives of the new races arriving on Earth. Junwoo steps into the circle, raises his staff, and declares the meeting's purpose, forcing everyone to confront the looming invasion. The spirits pause, the air thickens, and a silent pact forms. Yet the cost is a hidden betrayal waiting to surface.
Yep. I'm here to discuss other races arriving. Spirit Farmer.
The hidden betrayal already moves in the shadows.
The sapling erupts with a deafening scream, its frantic melody ripping through the air as a new branch shoots upward, reshaping the world tree in a violent, unexpected surge. Junwoo feels his grip on Hope Frey, sweat mixing with dread as he watches unity crumble and the farm's future teeter on the edge of ruin, desperate for Hawk's silent guidance. Rival cultivators loom beyond the trembling roots, their shadowed intentions looming, leaving the Guardians scrambling for allies while the world tree's fragile heart beats under an ominous, unresolved threat. The best way to stay ahead in any manhwa? Subscribe to Manhwa with Hari. We do the reading, you enjoy the story. Hawk snatches the silver bell, and the spirit farmer's blood boils into thunder. The crowd of otherworlders roars, demanding the Earth General Knowledge quiz to begin. Everyone wants the prize, but the host's booming voice holds the line, refusing to start without a drum roll. Hawk drums his wings, the rhythm shattering the tense silence. The bell clangs, the quiz erupts, and the spirit farmer feels his heart slam against his ribs, knowing the first question could decide his fate. And that's not even the worst part.
Let the quiz begin, everyone.
The real challenge just whispered its name. The spirit farmer stares at Hawk, who grins like a trickster, demanding the first answer.
Guilt gnaws at him as he thinks of Una, the alchemist's daughter who helped shoulder the farm's burden after Chanwoo vanished. He wants to ease her load, feeling the weight of being the older sibling who should protect. The fact that Una's family runs a powerful corporation adds pressure. She cannot afford failure. He blames himself for her hardship, but a sudden spark of determination pushes him to act. He promises to find a way to lift her spirits, even if it means risking the alchemical dominion's notice. The consequence: his resolve hardens, but the risk of attracting dangerous eyes grows. But the real problem is already in motion.
Junwoo wants to convince the weary spirit, Hawk, that letting the elf stay won't draw the Dominion's eye. Hawk's clenched fists and rapid breathing show he fears an ambush. Junwoo steps forward, slams his palm on the table, and shouts that the elves bring vital forest magic for the crops. Hawk blocks the exit, eyes flashing, as a distant horn sounds, tightening the tension. Junwoo grabs Hawk's arm, pulls him toward the doorway, and forces him to listen to the plan. Hawk's shoulders relax just enough to hear the promise of shared power, but his trust remains a fragile thread.
We need them. Trust the plan.
Hawk's doubt lingers, and a shadow moves beyond the doorway. Junwoo forces the elves to stay, confronting Hawk, while the Dominion's eyes turn toward his farm. Junwoo risks losing the fragile trust of Hawk and the safety of orphan Sora, while desperately clinging to gratitude from Genwoo. A hidden Dominion scout emerges from the shadows, its weapon humming, leaving the farm's fate hanging as the spirits flare. Hit subscribe on Manwa with Hari. You've already spent time here. Make it count. The kitchen hums as the sun cracks open. Hawk drags a half-asleep voice across the room, demanding 5 more minutes before anyone even thinks about breakfast. His stubbornness blocks the quiet start the others crave. He slams his palm on the counter, forcing everyone to pause. The clatter wakes the farm's early birds, and the smell of fresh rice finally forces a reluctant smile from the sleepy crew. The morning rush begins, but the tension still lingers like steam.
Good morning.
Jae-ho slams the soil with his superhuman strength, and Hawa's luminous vines coil around each seed, coaxing them into radiant grade A+ crops in seconds. Hygiene darts in, mixing ancient herbs while Minsu chants protective sigils, and the farm erupts in a kaleidoscope of glowing leaves. Suddenly, Gusei-1's drones roar overhead, their weapons humming. Jae-ho grips his spirit farmer ID, ready to defend his harvest and his destiny. Jae-ho slams his superhuman ID onto the weathered oak desk, sparks flaring as Hawa twirls, coaxing luminous vines from the soil. Lee Hygiene darts in, clutching a freshly harvested grade A+ herb that glows like sunrise, while Park Minsu chants, sealing the spirit barrier. Hawk shifts the conversation, hoping a meal will smooth the tension. He wants everyone to relax over food, believing a shared dinner can hide the awkwardness. Lila's sudden suggestion of a restaurant throws him off balance. The idea feels like a trap he can't escape. He nods, forcing a smile, and agrees to treat them, hoping generosity will buy forgiveness. The group accepts, but the promise of a treat drains his already low spirit, leaving his pockets lighter and his nerves tighter.
How about we have a meal at the best restaurant today?
The reservation arrives, and something tells him this dinner will change everything. The group bursts into the supposed restaurant, only to find sterile market aisles and a reservation slip that lists a mysterious observer's name, turning their dinner plan into a chilling confrontation. Hawk wrestles with his hidden confession, feeling his throat tighten as the fear of rejection collides with the desperate need for acceptance, while Yi-jun's awkward invitation threatens to unravel his fragile hope for Lila. A whispered half-sea name drifts through the quiet, leaving everyone frozen as the unseen presence looms, promising danger that could shatter their fragile bonds. Just one more chapter, right? We've all been there. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. Lee Hae-jin slams the seed into the rich loam, and a radiant vine erupts, twisting around Hawa's laughing spirit. Mira Kim darts forward, mixing alchemical elixirs into the soil, while Jinwoo Park braces his rifle for the incoming Blackroot Syndicate ambush. The ground shudders, grade A+ crops burst forth, and a thunderous roar signals Dr. Celine Voss's corrupted hybrids charging toward the farm. The battle for humanity sprouts in seconds. Lee Hae-jin slams the ancient seed into the soil, and vines burst forth, humming with raw power. Hawa, the gleaming farming spirit, spirals around the seedlings, coaxing them into radiant grade A+ crops that pulse like living batteries. The group agrees to let Jianwoo try the mysterious dessert, tension easing into cautious optimism. He lifts the spoon, eyes scanning the glittering beans that resemble fairyland treasure. The first bite explodes, sending a cascade of sweet, sparkling flavor across his palate. Hawk, perched nearby, chirps excitedly, praising the taste as otherworldly. The kitchen erupts in cheers, the earlier insult forgotten beneath the delight. Yet, Suchan still mutters that edible was a slight, his pride wounded despite the praise. The cost is a lingering resentment that could sour future collaborations.
It was so good, like fairy glitter beans.
The heated debate spirals as Haifa insists the dish is merely edible, refusing to acknowledge its brilliance.
Hae-jin watches the sunrise, hoping the day will bring clarity, but the wind carries whispers of looming danger. He wants the Blackroot Syndicate to slip up, to give him a chance to strike. Yet every scout's shadow looms closer, and his allies' supplies dwindle. He clenches his fists, sends a pulse of seed energy into the soil, demanding the earth to grow faster, to hide his crops. The ground sprouts thick vines that swallow the paths the enemies would take, buying him precious time. The cost? The vines drain his stamina, leaving his arms trembling. Yet the enemy already circles. You feel the weight of a confession pressing against your chest.
Lee Hae-jin hammers the glowing, sentient seed into the cracked earth, emerald vines exploding outward as Lila drops the bombshell that she is a genderless spirit of the harvest, not a human. Hae-jin's confidence shatters, his trust in the person he's leaned on for weeks crumbles, and he wrestles with the crushing weight of betrayal while the looming threat of the Blackroot Syndicate tightens its grip. The night swallows his frantic journal entries. The wind carries whispered warnings, and the Syndicate's shadow looms nearer, leaving the fate of the newly born Vines and Heijin's fragile alliance hanging in peril. Something major happens to this character very soon. Subscribe to Manhwa with Hari before the spoilers find you.